All right, that is the Nassau County Legislature building. We are here early to register for the legislative meeting today, where I plan to speak about my opposition to the contract with Veolia. And I believe this is the building right here. Well, we are in the outer meeting room, and they have all these pamphlets, but nothing on the Long Island bus contract. Isn't that interesting? All right, we're interviewing some people here. Now, what do you think? You say Long Island bus doesn't get enough coverage on the media, right?
Right.
Right, and this is exactly why I'm here, because the media doesn't cover it. None of the mainstream media covers it. They ignore us. It's really tantamount to discrimination.
You know what I'm concerned with? Here's what I'm wondering, how seriously they take us.
Yeah.
See, let me tell you something that happened at one of the MTA here.
Yeah.
One of the people at the table was texting.
Oh yeah, that's Nancy Chevelle.
Was texting on.
Yeah,
his
I know.
cell phone.
Nancy Chevelle. That's what she thinks of us. I know.
Paul McCartney. And
Mrs. Paul McCartney.
prior to the meeting, prior to the hearing, they had already started the pre-elimination of the buses. So
Yep.
the question is, how seriously is everything we say being taken?
Yeah, that's the problem. We're not taking it seriously because guess what? We're not rich. That's why.
What we say,
We're politically
going
expendable.
one ear
Yep,
out the other.
exactly.
The only thing they're concerned about is their paychecks.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
All right, we're here in the Nassau Legislative Chamber now. It is approximately 12:19, and the meeting will start around 1 o'clock, and they start signing in speakers around 12:30.
This is me. I got my stuff in there.
We're kicked out because we don't have passes, so now we're waiting for a pass.
This is Greg. I left my stuff.
Good old Nassau County politics. They're trying not to let us speak, but you know my voice will be heard. Along with all these other people, nobody ever shuts me up.
I got to get it.
I got my pass here, so. Politics as usual in Nassau County. Alright, a good turnout. Let's see, a very good turnout. TV55 is here. These are the people from Veolia. Veolia, official from Veolia. All he sees when he looks at us are dollar signs. That's it. He's here to make money. He's not here to provide service for us. As you can see, it's very busy here. We have excellent turnout, which is excellent news. But we could have 1 million people here, and these freaking fools sitting up there still won't care what we think. Standing room only now in here. That's why I got here early. The meeting is supposed to start at 1. It is 1:15, and we still don't see any sign of the legislature yet. They're probably scared to face the music. That's Dennis Dunn. Very corrupt Republican. It's 1:25, and we are still waiting for them. We have a few here. Peter Schmitt popped in, and then he, oh, that might be him. See how well the manners are of this legislature. A few people waiting here for, it's supposed to start at 1, it is 1:25. That's Denise Ford.
Right.
That's my districtman right there, who never gets back to me. My district. So we only have very few out here right now. I don't know where the Democrats are. They all sit on this side, but I don't see any of them. It's 1:31. We're still waiting. A few more legislators coming in now, but it's still... They say that they're waiting on some other people coming in. 1:38.
We're here already.
Yes, I hope to don't give me a hand. Oh,
What do you like to say? What do you think about what they're doing here, keeping us waiting like this?
That's all it is.
No,
Yeah, they'll get frustrated and get up. They already made their decision. This is all protocol.
Yeah, I know.
Chamber. So just please, bear with us a few minutes. We could start, we'd like to start with everybody here, and both the minority, the coming in minority leader and the majority leader upstairs in a meeting. So give us another 5 to 10 minutes.
We need to have that discussion here. In a meeting, this was a meeting.
People got able right to get back.
You told us 1 o'clock. Disrespectful to us. They're in a meeting. I thought this was supposed to be.
If we never clapped, you wouldn't have said anything to us.
Nobody ain't got to speak. Y'all need to hurry up. Y'all rushed us to be here, so y'all need to hurry up. Y'all don't have to ride buses.
No, we need to vote you all out.
That's what we need to do.
And then you start respecting us.
Like another part of the road, because that's the way that we're actually over capacity. So what I'm saying is that counting the wheelchairs as a seat, so we can actually get the okay? So I just need you to kind of make your own row. Thank you. I just need you to kind of make a row.
Of course, the MTA hearings, the people in wheelchairs are normally up front. This is why we need the MTA to continue to run things. Because Nassau County doesn't care about buses. We continue to wait. They said 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. It's 1:48 now. Can't really see that. 1:51. We're still waiting for the legislature to convene and start this meeting. We have a complete lack of respect from the Nassau County Legislature for all of us here. What do we pay these people for if they can't even fucking be on time?
Yeah. The mere fact that they made it.
Well, that's why they call it Nasty County. It's not Nassau County, it's Nasty County.
Right.
It's Nasty County.
Right. And the Democrats are not angels either, on
No, they're not angels.
Them in the bucket. That's what they were.
Just elected. The Democrats didn't even discuss Long Island bus. They were only talking about the 2 precincts that were going to be closed.
Well, Kerry Solanges was. He was the
He
only
was
one.
the only one.
Yeah.
And he did it in spite of the Democrats.
Yep.
He did it on his own.
Yep, that's right.
The other 2 elections, they didn't want to talk about it because it didn't impact in their district.
That's right. That's right.
And I give credit to Mr. Solanges because he did it in spite of the Democrats. He did it on his own.
Yep. That's right.
Good candidate and did it on his own.
Yep.
Against two-faced Seattle.
Yep. So you said you were at the Hempstead,
Right.
Democrats didn't mention anything?
It was in Hewlett. I was in Hewlett. I was at the debate in Hewlett, and the Democrat candidates did not even mention about Long Island bus in the debate. They had the town of Hempstead candidates and also the legislative candidates did not mention about the Democrats.
I know, both parties have been pulling
Right.
this shit on us. We are minutes away from 2 o'clock. This meeting was supposed to start at 1 o'clock. It is almost 1:58 now. And they just stand there and look at us with complete disrespect. It is unbelievable what is going on in this county. This county government cannot function, and this is why I've been begging the state for a complete takeover of Nassau. Not just NYPA. This whole county cannot govern itself.
Don't leave. They want you.
Yeah. Say that, because it's going to go on YouTube. Go ahead, say what you're saying. The drivers have to leave?
The drivers have to leave. They have to go back to work.
Yep. This is what they want. This is what's going on.
Now we're late, and nobody should have to leave.
You know what I say?
The meeting didn't start.
If it doesn't start soon, I think we should just start speaking, whether they started or not. Because no one ever shuts us up. No one!
And the able-right people have to get back to...
I know they do. It's a complete lack of respect.
Right.
Lack of respect for the
At least they're consistent.
Yeah. What do we pay you people for? Let's go! Let the voice of the people be heard!
No privatization.
Yeah, of course they're going to use the county police to try to kick us out.
Stand around here waiting. Right. Stop playing with our minds. That's right. Nasty County.
Nasty County, you got it. Good.
This is total disrespect for our community, for Nassau County. Total disrespect.
I can't stay after 2. So they got like...
I'm happy to see a lot of press here.
When I gave my reservation, they said you could 3:30 or...
Meeting was supposed to start over an hour ago at 1 o'clock. It is now after 2 o'clock.
It's what it is.
Total disrespect. Welcome to Nasty County, New York. Somebody needs to change that logo there. Channel 7 is here. That's good. She's from Channel 7.
I was staying in for 3 years and I gotta go. I can't afford what I'm supposed to do.
This is proof that Nassau County is unable to govern itself. Pretty sure what they're doing here is illegal, and they're supposed to have a meeting. It should start within a certain allotted time, and it hasn't. Governor Cuomo, we need you involved here. Well, I guess they want us to get used to what it's like to be waiting for the bus next year. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Used to that.
The bus service is terrible now. It's going to only get worse.
It's only going to get worse. That's right.
It'll be like heaven in January.
You'll be walking on the pearly gate.
What used to take 20 minutes by bus takes me over an hour now. Terrible.
Yeah, because a lot of buses aren't showing up.
I know.
And come next year, you're going to be waiting a very long time for the bus. And when it comes, you won't even be able to fit on there.
No question about it.
These people, they don't care. They got their Range Rovers. Oh, here come the police. They're going to kick us out.
Canadians are getting arrested. More intimidation,
So,
It's ridiculous. I'm going to have to go before it starts.
what do you think of the way this county is being run?
I'm not making a public statement.
You're going to make sure they don't get reelected.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of these people did just get reelected.
Can I know your name?
We're waiting for Peter Schmitt, the chairman,
That's very
who was afraid to come out here apparently and face the music. Where is Peter Schmitt? We're all waiting for him. Just say that again on camera.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
right, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. If the drivers in Nassau County think that they're going to be impacted by this, they're kidding themselves. Every Nassau County resident is going to be impacted by the privatization of Long Island.
That's right.
The hospitals, the clinics, the restaurants, the small business, we're all affected. Plus, there's the MTA payroll tax that they're still going to be paying in Nassau County.
Yep.
They're fooling themselves, the taxpayers here.
Y'all are pathetic. Y'all can get home. Y'all can get home. Y'all can drive home. We gotta ride the bus. Hurry up.
So they only want to pay you $14 an hour? They only want to pay you $14 an hour, that's it? That's just unbelievable. We continue to wait here. All these people not being respected by it. This is the way this county government works. This county government represents the richest people in Nassau County. And they just want to make it a place where only the rich can live. And they want to force us all out. There's Peter the Pig Schmitt right there, finally in the room. So maybe, just maybe, things will start now that the pigs have arrived. Oink, oink. This man is the Grinch, or a very, very fat version of the Grinch.
Let's go, let's go. We got time.
going to have another round.
We still can't hear. Volume!
Let's go. It's your fault we're in this situation. Let everybody stand up and have a video.
Is this any better?
No.
Louder. Speak up. You hear me?
Speak up. The microphone.
William, give him your mic. Stand here.
Why you like that? Hey, man, get him.
Yes, no mic.
There he is. There's Mangano.
Major joke. How long you been in this office? Call in the geek squad. Can't hear.
You too, Peter Schmitt. There's only one person riding the bus, as you say.
Give him a bullhorn or something.
Y'all not worth any of the money you make. Bus drivers do more work than y'all.
Yeah, that's right.
Y'all don't do nothing but sit up there and run your mouth all day while they drop the buses. Dealing with idiotic people on the street.
You want an apology?
You owe them an apology. Y'all respect me, right?
No respect to the people.
With the microphone, I apologize for that.
No, man, for the mic? What about you?
Okay, let him speak. I can make more money than bus drivers.
We're going to have a hearing, you'll all be heard, and we're going to go through the whole thing. Let me just begin by apologizing for the delay. Both the minority leader and myself are in meetings with the county executive, minority leader-elect, and myself were in meetings with the county executive, and that's what has delayed the start of the hearing, but it's not going to delay.
Wait, let him speak.
Time limit on the hearing.
No time limit.
No time limit. We'll close at night. We'll wait until I have slips here. I'm sure I'll be getting more as the hearing progresses, and we're going to hear from every person that's on these slips and do what we have to do. Now, where is the county executive?
That's him over there?
Yep.
Minority leader-elect Yvonne Abraham would like to say something.
All right, all right.
First, I know that the microphones are working horribly, but I want to thank all of you for coming down today. You have waited patiently for the last 6 to 9 months to make sure that a hearing would take place, and I'm thankful that we got this room packed to hear this today. I just want to say also that I apologize about the lateness and tardiness of this hearing.
Thank you.
We came down, we were upstairs, myself as well as the Presiding Officer Peter Schmitt with the county executive trying to finalize or work out a deal which would be best for all of you. So from that standpoint, that was the reason why we spent time negotiating and back and forth. It was not done in a slighted way to try to see if we can get people to leave. You know full well where I stand on that issue.
Yeah.
I want every single voice heard. As you waited patiently for us to begin, I will wait patiently for all of you to speak. I thank you for coming down again.
Each person 10 minutes. White collar.
Let's make it count. Where's that coconut?
That's not a coincidence.
We like to listen to you. We want to see your face, not your back.
All right, let him talk. Let him talk. Let him talk.
respect in the chamber, please.
He doesn't respect. He don't respect nobody. Some respect. He won't even pay them their money. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You will be voted out. You will be voted out.
You have
be voted out.
Okay, let him speak. That's okay. Let him speak, please.
You will hear the details of the bus service that will be in this county starting January 1st.
We don't want
it. Before you catcall,
we're not catcalling.
let's get the facts on the table.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So if you give us a minute,
You don't need the
we
mic.
make a
You can turn to us.
presentation. Let us have the presentation heard, and you will be heard. So at least you can comment on the facts, object to the facts. There's been a lot of rumors and a lot of things that are incorrect. We'd like an opportunity to at least get the facts out there, and that's it. So let us begin.
Turn
Let
around
us
to
be
us. You
quiet.
don't need the mic.
Let us be calm. In an
You're not
orderly way, the
children.
presiding officer here will make certain that everybody's heard. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
good afternoon, Presiding Officer Schmitt, Minority Leader-elect Trevon Abrams, distinguished members of the legislature, and those in attendance. We're here for not one reason. Many reasons bring us to this point, whether it be historic dysfunction or unreasonable economic demands on this county, especially in these challenging times. As you may know, 100,000 daily riders take Nassau County buses to work, school, the store, the doctor, and they depend on it. We understand that. A year ago, that was truly threatened here in Nassau County. The MTA demanded either $26 million more of the taxpayers' dollars, or they offered to cut 27 routes. Those are the facts that I had to deal with as your county executive. Find $26 million more in the worst of times where this county is facing serious decisions, or cut 27 routes and leave over 50% of our ridership stranded. We did not accept that. We looked for another way. We did, in fact, negotiate in earnest. We did. And that resulted in the MTA sending us a letter terminating their agreement with us to operate the bus service. So faced with unreasonable demands, followed by a letter to terminate our bus service, we looked for another way. The contract that I've submitted to the legislature is truly a public-private partnership. Veolia will report to a transit committee which will oversee its performance. That committee will have 5 members, all Nassau County residents. Under the contract, 4 things will happen. We will provide a greater level of fare stability for riders. We will restore the MTA's planned route cuts. We will preserve able ride service, and we will reduce costs to taxpayers. First, fare stability. The MTA has increased fares by over 50% over the past 3 years. 50%. No private business is increasing costs to consumers by 50%. Yet this is precisely what the MTA has done, and that is in addition to collecting a $100 million job-killing payroll tax here in Nassau County. In that process, Nassau County had one voice of 22 members of the MTA board. One voice. Now Nassau County will have 100% local oversight. 100%. Fares cannot increase. They cannot be raised unless that committee approves it. A committee made up of 100% Nassau County residents. Next, compared to the MTA's planned cuts, we restore service for thousands of riders and we will preserve the Able Ride service area for hundreds of disabled riders that depend on Able Ride to provide them with independence. Third, we will save taxpayers significant dollars. Last March, we were told by the MTA we had two choices. Write a check for an additional $26 million or see 27 routes slashed. And that would leave thousands of people a day stuck at their bus stop, or even worse, stuck in their homes. With the assistance of State Senator Charles Paschillo, we preserved those routes to 2011, and in just 8 months, Nassau County has proven a third choice existed, a proven model of public and private partnership. It is a better choice for us all. It is a practical choice, and quite frankly, the MTA gave us little choice. I would now like to introduce Mark Ash. He's the former CEO of Rochester Genesee Regional Transportation Authority, whom the county retained earlier this year to assist with the transition from MTA to Veolia. I think you will find Mark's presentation informative, and it will certainly raise some questions, which then we will have staff from Veolia, my staff, and Mark Ash here to address the concerns of the legislators, as well as the concerns of the riders and the taxpayers that are here today. And I thank you very much for your time. I turn over to Mark Ash. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mangano. Mark, if you just hold on for a second, we have to make this meeting official. Mr. Clerk, would you first call the roll?
Deputy Presiding Officer Ciani. Alternate Deputy Presiding Officer Gonsalves. Legislator Abrahams. Legislator Triano. Legislator Ford. Legislator Scannell. Legislator Becker. Legislator Coppell. Legislator Mascarella. Legislator Nicolello. Legislator Bosworth. Legislator Wing. Legislator Delisi. Legislator Dunn. Legislator Jacobs. Legislator Walker. Legislator Denenberg. Minority Leader Toro. Presiding Officer Schmitt. We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. I believe you have a procedural resolution.
Sir, yes. The first item on the calendar is Procedural Resolution 18-2011, a resolution ratifying the actions of the Clerk of the Legislature to cause to publish a notice of hearing on proposed local law in relation to the management and operation of a Nassau County fixed route transit and paratransit bus system. Do you want to call both procedural resolutions so we can open up both hearings at the same time, sir? Sure. Okay. The hearing, the second item on the calendar is also procedural resolution 19-2011, a resolution ratifying the actions of the Clerk of the Legislature to cause to publish a notice of hearing on an ordinance to authorize the county executive to execute a contract for the management, operation, and maintenance of a Nassau County bus system. Please take the motion to hear it.
Motion by Legislator Ciani, seconded by Legislator Gonsalves. We have to vote, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all those in favor of the procedural resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Procedural resolution is carried unanimously.
The hearings on the proposed local law in relation to the management and operation of the Nassau County fixed route transit and paratransit bus system pursuant to the procedural resolution adopted today, December 5, 2011, is now open. The hearing on the ordinance to authorize the county executive to execute a contract for the management, operation, and maintenance of Nassau County bus system pursuant to this procedural resolution adopted today, December 5, 2011, is now open. Thank you.
Okay, now we...
I'm very pleased to be able to stand before the legislature on behalf of the administration and walk you through the details of a revolutionary way for you to be able to provide public transportation in the community with a private sector mindset. Let me just speak to some of the highlights of the contract before we go into the details. First, this is a contract that will stabilize fares for the riding public. Second, it will improve the quality of the service that the community is able to enjoy. It will preserve jobs for members of organized labor. It will reduce the reliance on local taxpayers' dollars by millions. And for the first time, it will give Nassau County control. Now, there's been a number of detractors in local media that have talked about what this contract might mean over the course of the next 5 years. They have said that the contractor might raise fares. They have said that the contractor might make changes to service levels. They have said that the contractor might lay employees off. They have said that the contractor might make changes to service without checking. And they have said that the contractor might walk away from the deal. All the things that the detractors have said might happen over the next 5 years already have happened over the last 5 years. The MTA has raised fares 3 different times. There has been huge slashing of service. They have reduced the workforce. They have imposed changes with only 1 member of Nassau County on their board. And this past spring, the MTA walked away. So I'm going to take you into the details of this contract and of this service. For Able Ride, 280,000 rides every single year. There is a fleet of nearly 315 fixed route buses and nearly 100 buses for Able Ride. Next to gas and electric and water, there is simply not a public service in the community that is utilized more than public transportation. And this past winter, all of that was jeopardized. The MTA demanded $26 million more for the same service. No value added, no cutting edge technology, no express routes for the community. It was hot meal prices for day-old bread. And the county indeed had to consider its alternatives. As the county executive indicated, you look at the first door. Write the check to the MTA for more than $35 million. In this door, the taxpayer loses. If you move to the second door, the rider loses. Slash 27 routes, 57% of the service that's on the street today. 750 Able Ride customers every year simply left stranded. No alternative. And as the county examined which one of these 2 doors to accept, whether they found it acceptable to write a check for Ritz-Carlton quality when they were being asked to spend Ritz-Carlton prices, the county took a look at the current reality as to what constituents were experiencing with the MTA. Amongst the highest costs per hour in the industry, long waits and unreliable service for constituents, an on-time percentage of 62%. Even the airlines can do better. Nearly 10% of Long Island buses simply never pull out of the garage. 10,000 people a day are left standing in a bus stop waiting for the bus to pull up. And so the county looked at doors 1 and doors 2 and slammed the door. And the county designed
Liar. You're lying.
a door for the taxpayers,
You're lying.
customers,
Shut up.
finish lying.
Lying.
And now let me take you inside of door 3.
We're not interested.
Door 3 is a partnership between the public and the private. Unlike the days where the MTA simply imposed, now the county will have direct control and responsibility for fares and operating budgets. This is a contract which aligns the interests of the taxpayer, the bus rider, and the community. Let me take the legislature, if I may, through the procurement process, which began 1 year ago. There were 3 proposals which were received by the county, one from Veolia, one from First Transit, and one from MV. There was an evaluation team of 5 county staff which went through each one of the responses from the industry. And in a period of just 5 months, the county has been able to negotiate a deal which will save the taxpayer tens of millions of dollars each year. Let me share with you some of the reasons as to why the evaluation team chose Veolia.
It's raining on deaf ears here.
Can we hear the facts? Shh, be quiet. Let's hear the facts first, please. It's okay. We don't have the chance to go and dispute that. Let them talk.
Because they operate buses that are clean. And because they operate buses when they're scheduled to.
Y'all don't wait till your turn.
Nassau County will be the largest privately managed public transportation system in the nation.
It don't work.
Who runs the second largest? Veolia. Who runs the third largest? Veolia.
They have a bad track record too.
Public transportation systems managed by a private organization are managed by Veolia.
3 minutes are up.
Veolia has done this across the country. In fact, they've managed transitions from excessive government bureaucracy to efficient, productive, state-of-art operations in places like Las Vegas, 90% of the time,
New York,
in Phoenix, 90%
New York, that's New York, not Phoenix, Arizona. We live in New York and pay our taxes.
Let him talk.
This disarray in the audience is the longer it will take before the public has an opportunity to be heard.
The people are pissed.
Some have said, Mr. Presiding Officer, that Veolia might just walk away. Some have said that Veolia might just walk away.
Let him finish.
Actually did. In 150 years, Veolia has never walked away from a contract. Veolia has proposed a very powerful local team. Selected powerful local vendors, creating local jobs, and creating local tax revenues. From a fleet today that is only on time 62% of the time, that misses 10% of its service, that imposes fare hikes and slashes service, for the first time in 40 years, Nassau County will take control of its public transportation.
No, Veolia would take control.
For the first time in 40 years, riding the buses will be nice.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
3 minutes are up.
Before, the county will actually be in the driver's seat.
No.
Let him speak.
The county will set service levels, and the county will have regular quarterly oversight.
We'll see. Yeah. Before changes to the public transportation system were simply imposed.
Now, changes will be monitored by a 100% Nassau County Board.
Who are they?
This is a 5-year partnership before the legislature. The county can give 90 days notice and walk away. The Transit Committee will meet every quarter. There will be a fully transparent performance scorecard. The county will approve the annual plan, and the company must have a plan for customer input.
Oh my goodness.
Now let me be clear on this, Mr. Presiding Officer. Veolia gets paid for operating service.
Exactly.
Unlike today, when 10% of buses just sit in the garage and the MTA gets paid the same, Veolia gets paid for actual hours on the street for people to ride.
So
And they do not get paid for an hour more. Veolia is incentivized to provide more service. And they are incentivized to ensure that it is a high-quality service.
High-quality service. So what?
Quality is a key component in this contract. Unlike today,
3 minutes are
where
up.
many are just hearing for the first time,
3 minutes are up.
the buses are only on time 62%, then 10% never pull out of the garage, and that 49% of the fleet fail DOT standards.
Because Veolia
Going
don't
forward,
need it, that's why it
every single
failed.
quarter will be a fully transparent system to demonstrate how the service is provided. The reason that Veolia must care about quality is they have risks associated with the fare box. If their buses are late, if their buses break down, if their buses simply don't pull out and fewer people ride, Veolia eats that.
Good.
Oh, yeah?
There is no sticking their hand out and demanding more money from the taxpayer.
So that the public suffers.
Now, the contract includes something that is revolutionary. Expenses must equal revenues. And the two parties, the county and Veolia, must work together in a collaborative fashion in order to realize that position. Before you is a high-level budget for 2012, $106 million. 40% of the revenues come from customers, 60% of the expenses go towards employees. Balancing the books each year brings stability and increases the quality of the customer experience. Let me speak to MetroCard. It is clearly very important.
That we have
the deal is nearly done. We expect it to be done. And we are committed to ensuring that Veolia
and we want
gets it
everybody
done.
going into Queensfield.
Let me speak to Able Ride, where just 9 months ago, 750 Able Ride customers would have lost their independence and would have been stranded. Today, Able Ride will remain stable for everyone. In fact, Veolia executives have already been out listening to customers, listening to business leaders, and listening to employees to ensure the community enjoys a high-quality experience. Just 9 months ago, the MTA conducted hearings and was prepared to impose a 57% slashing of Long Island bus. And the only thing that Nassau County could do was pound the table because the MTA was in the driver's seat. Going forward, the Veolia can only make changes in service that are severely underutilized. The MTA approach was to pull out a chainsaw. Veolia will pull out a microscope and a scalpel. An airline that flies a 747.
We're talking about bus.
We're not talking about no airline. We don't want to know about the airline. We want to know about MTA. We don't fly. We ride.
Will very quickly be out of business.
Hurry up.
Look for Veolia to
You don't have nothing else to say. Why don't you sit down?
approach whereby customers that need more service will see more service, ensuring that service
Get out of Nassau County and go back where you come from. Get out of Nassau County and go back where you come from.
Yeah, but you gotta have order. This slide,
We pay these taxes, not you.
40% of the revenue comes from the customer, and 60% comes from the taxpayer. Veolia will be allowed to analyze those buses where it requires 3 times the taxpayer subsidy.
I'm not a child.
Let's get the other side story. We got one side.
That was you.
Yeah.
Subsidy of approximately $1,100 a year On 2% of service, there is approximately a $4,700 taxpayer subsidy, and on some buses, there is a nearly $7,000 taxpayer subsidy per person per year. It does not take a calculator to realize that at some point it is less expensive to buy some folks a car. As I said, the county can get out of this contract within 90 days. While the MTA gave notice just this past spring, Veolia will be required to give 1 year's notice. The county had 2 doors to consider. The first door was the opportunity to write a check for $35 million.
That's the way you should do it.
Write the check.
Write the check.
Write the check.
The second door was to warm up the chainsaw and slash service, lay off
Oh, you
employees,
talking about cutting down with the chainsaw?
customers stranded,
They can't run buses off
and get the same quality service. 62% on time, 10% of buses that don't pull out of the garage,
You telling us we need a horse in the buggy?
and 49% of buses
You act like
that
you ride
fail
buses.
the DOT
You have to worry
standard.
about it.
The county has selected and built a third door with the riding public's interests, one where 98% of organized labor employees that qualify for employment will be offered a job, 100% Nassau control, and Veolia is paid and incentivized to provide more service.
Next.
Some have expressed concerns about what the next 5 years might look like. We certainly know what the last 5 years have looked like. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
County Controller, ladies and gentlemen. The Controller's Office reviewed the proposed agreement with Veolia to operate Long Island Bus. We evaluated the agreement from a number of aspects, and we compared the operating arrangement under the Veolia agreement with the MTA service reduction plan that was submitted by the MTA. The evaluation aspects that we used were service levels, financial impact, risk liabilities, local control, and other intangibles. Some of the metrics that we have found is that the daily impact on riders on a route basis will affect approximately, Veolia arrangement will affect approximately 13,000 daily commuters versus the MTA. The MTA would have affected 16,800 daily commuters. Veolia only affects 3,800 commuters. The daily percentage rider impact that those numbers represent, MTA would have reduced service by 16%. Veolia will only reduce service by 4%. The daily vehicles hours impact, if we look at it from an actual total hours of vehicles on the road serving the public, we found that the MTA would have been providing a total of 926,000 vehicle hours. Veolia will provide 50,000 more hours of vehicles on the road, of 980,000. Able Ride, the MTA, was proposing a 50% reduction, while in the next 2 years, Veolia will not impact Able Ride, the paratransit, at all. The Metro card is an issue that is open, and we were happy to hear that Veolia is close to an agreement with the MTA to provide a very important service, the Metro card transfer service, which affects 33,000 daily riders. From a county cost impact, the MTA plan assuming there was no additional subsidy, would have required the county to pay an additional $9.1 million annually. The Veola plan will require the county to pay $2.5 million, approximately $7 million per year less. We also looked at the risk liability from a 13C labor obligation. As the MTA would have had no impact on additional liability to the county. Under Veola, we made certain assumptions that, as I heard in the prior presentations, may not come to fruition. We had assumed, because of the reduced route and vehicle hours proposed by Veola, they would require less drivers, less mechanics, and our estimate was that they would require about 168 less union employees. As a result, we calculated a potential maximum risk liability to the county of $23 million. We are happy to hear that most, if not all, of the employees will be hired, and if they are indeed hired, then this liability would not materialize. As far as we see some risk with regards to the state and federal grants. Those are generally tied to service levels and number of riders on the buses, and we think there should be very little or minimal impact to potential reductions in state and federal grants. Some of the intangibles that we found in the contract that we thought were beneficial to the county were greater local control, as was indicated. All the members of the transit committee will be county residents. The county subsidy to the ongoing operation of Long Island Bus is guaranteed at $2.5 million over the next few years, again substantially less than what the MTA would have been. And then we have the additional benefit of potential newer technology and improved service through this better technology that we deem Veola will be offering. So in conclusion, our assessment is that the Veola agreement can provide a higher level of service at lower cost with greater lower control.
Thank you, Mr. Maragos. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Maragos?
You commented on the 13C provisions with respect to this proposed deal with Veola. Have you had an opportunity to review any legal opinions with respect to 13C?
We consulted various attorneys, we also plus some outside sources, and again, it's there is a debate as to the level of liability, but our summary was that the extent of the liability would be limited to the extent that the employees are harmed or their compensation is reduced over the next 6 years. So on the basis of that assumption of damage to or harm to employees, we estimated that the maximum impact would be in the range of maximum $23 million.
And you use the term harm to employees. How do you define harm to employees?
Well, either reduced wages or employees not hired and not being able to find gainful employment.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to review an opinion that was provided to us today by the firm of Collier, O'Hara and Mills, LLP, who purport to be the attorneys for the Transport Workers Union Local 252?
No, I have not seen that.
Okay. I'm going to ask, does the clerk have an additional copy that can be provided to the controls office by which he forms that opinion?
Legislator Gonsalves.
Mr. Maragos, in regard to revenues coming into the Veolia budget, is there the possibility that grants will still be forthcoming to Veolia as it was to the MTA? In other words, is there stability insofar as grants that would be received to this new agency?
The only rate that we see, first of all, our understanding with regard to the grants, those can fluctuate depending both what the federal and the state governments elect to allocate in terms of total grants to all local commuters. There is a secondary effect, though, in determining the level, and that is the commuter riders, the total daily annual riders. So to the extent that those are being reduced, as I indicated in the case of about 4,000 daily on the Veolia side, but 16,000 on the MTA, if there would be any impact, and maybe some impact, we would hope that it would be lesser under Veolia than under the MTA potentially.
Well, it's understandable that under these present circumstances, given the economy with the federal government and the state, money may not be so forthcoming, but they still would be eligible to receive grants if the funding is available.
That's correct.
Only if it's available.
Well, you had your hand up first.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Maragos. First question. This is Controller's limited review of license agreement between the county and Veolia, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by limited review?
Review everything.
You need Mr. Maroney to help you with what you mean by limited review. But seriously, why is it limited?
Well, the Controller's Office has certain process with regards to the documents that it issues. And if it's not a rigorous, formal audit, then the level of document below that is called limited review. And we've issued similar limited reviews in previous testimonies to this legislature. Actually, all our documents and reports that we've been submitting to the legislature have been limited reviews, whether it be of a budget nature or...
We only get limited reviews. But, okay, so...
We'll give you a lollipop later. Come on, let's...
Come on. Unbelievable. One of the recommendations that you made is that fare adjustments should be changed from quarterly to annually. The potential of quarterly adjustments would harm public confidence. So what you're saying is that as you read it right now, fares could be adjusted every quarter as opposed to just once a year.
Yeah, right.
From a contractual point of view, it allows for that. We don't think that's going to happen. But
so we can hear.
The contract, which theoretically right now, or the contract right now, provides that fares could be changed quarterly. In your recommendation, we should make sure that fares contractually can only be changed annually, correct?
That's what we recommend.
Every 5 years.
Now, the fixed fee should have some relationship to the variable fee. The county should not, and I'm just looking at your conclusions here, the county should not be put into a situation where service is substantially cut while the fixed fee represents a significantly higher percentage of the total payment to Veolia. What are you trying to say? So that we can have reduced revenue, but the fixed fee to Veolia would be the same?
Yeah.
Well, we're saying the ratio, normally in any operation, you have the overhead or administrative cost should be a certain percentage of the operation varying from industry to industry. So in the case, it may be 25 or 30%. And when those numbers start getting much higher than that, then you basically can have an inefficient operation. So it's a guideline, a management precaution, if you will, for our metrics to be monitored and somehow have some bounds on it.
So what is that ratio right now? What's the fixed fee you said represents a significantly higher percentage?
Well, it's about 27% now in the contract. So we would like to see that remain below 30% as a guideline.
Okay. And if we reduce that percentage, then the total payment to Veolia versus the variable fee that the county might get could be less. That would be better for the county?
Well,
I'm trying to understand this in layman's terms. What do you recommend?
Well, remember, the county is only contributing $2.5 million towards the operation of the bus versus 9.1 that they were previously paying the MTA, or they're currently paying the MTA.
Right.
And they will continue to, our reading of the contract, $2.5 million for the next few years, the term of the contract. So that's a substantial savings to the contract. The rest of the revenues that were accrued from the operation or from the grants will go towards the operation.
So if the county remains under this contract paying 2.5, which is what it says, right, which is significantly less than the 9.1, if the rates that Veolia charges can be changed after the first quarter, and they charge more per hour service, but the county contribution remains 2.5, that difference could only come either from state and federal grants, which look like they're going down because under, that's one of the concerns you raised, that state and federal grants would go down. So the only difference could be fares, correct?
Well, right. There you go. Fares, it could be advertising revenue. There you go. Or it could be
reduced service.
Or it could be reduced service, yeah.
So unless the ad revenue goes through the roof, but there's increase from the...
Can't hear him.
If we're just paying 2.5, it's coming from the faregoers, or we get reduced services.
The same thing would have happened with the MTA. Because what we've done...
I'm not looking at the MTA deal right now.
Thank you.
Legislator Schmitt, there is a pending litigation with the Transport Workers Union. I believe it has been the practice of the legislature to hold discussions that relate to such litigations in executive session.
And I'm asking the people in the dark.
I have not asked about your opinion about 13C.
Right.
What I've asked is your opinion about the impact of that.
On the right. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Maragos, let's say there's a hypothetical liability. Nothing to do with 13C. There's a hypothetical liability of $22 million in the county's budget. As the controller for Nassau County, how do you feel about entering the year with that kind of risk outstanding?
Answer the
As we commented in the 2012 budget, that there are substantially greater liabilities. A number of items have not risk, they're risk liabilities in terms of sales tax revenue, in terms of other operating expenses that have not been well defined. So there are risk items, and we're outlining this in the context of bus agreement as another risk item that has a potential cost liability.
Okay. We're kind of throwing that 22.8 as though that's the right number, and we don't know that, and you don't know that.
No, and there's a discussion as to how we arrived at that number. You may disagree with it. We certainly are open to further discussion on estimating that liability. And if our assumptions are incorrect, then certainly we've showed what the format is that we use. and we'd be happy to revise that.
And you made, I think, some reasonable assumptions as far as I've read thus far.
Yes.
So you're assuming that there are 2 drivers for all the routes that get eliminated based on your best projections?
That's correct. But what I heard before in a prior presentation, that it is the intent of Veolia to hire all, if not most, of the PWU employees, in which case that liability would be probably significantly reduced, if not eliminated.
Or it could be a lot higher. You could get, as far as your calculation, it could be as high as 89.4 million. I'll ask a question in executive session.
Would you like to go to executive session?
No. No. Public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
Let the public talk.
John?
Right. There's a lot of conversation and extreme concern about fare increases. I think that's on both sides of the aisle.
And service cuts.
My understanding is if there's going to be a fare increase, it has to go to a committee. A committee of 5 people.
Who elected them?
So you understand as well?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And Ed McDonough can veto it.
This is like a game.
Yes, Mr. Maragos, I'm sure you know this is going back, as far as hearings go, almost 2 years now. With the concern originally of override cut in certain areas and never restored, and the concern of losing bus service. So I believe that there isn't anybody sitting up here that doesn't know the importance of keeping our bus service running. And the thing, I want to make one statement, and just correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer, so that's good, because I'm not going to ask you this. But I'm going to ask you a layman's question. It seemed to me, when I read over the contract, that although people would like to make Veolia the bad, so to speak, bad guy here, in truth, there really is none. The county has the real hammer in this as whether to lower it, raise it, or whatever, not actually Veolia.
That's correct.
Okay. It took me about 3 minutes to realize that as we were discussing it the other day and, of course, reading it over. I have one simple question for you.
Yes or no?
Is your suggestion that this contract with Veolia be approved for Nassau County?
He's going to say yes.
Just a yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes, because it's a better, higher level of service at a lower cost compared to the alternative with the MPA.
All right, I appreciate that, because I think what we want to know, when people get up to speak, or like you as the controller, or the county attorney, or anyone getting up from the public, we have to know where you stand. And you are comfortable recommending the contract with Veolia. That's what I want to know.
Yes, I am, because the alternative would have been worse at a higher cost.
Okay,
more impact, negative impact to the riders of Nassau County.
And knowing you, I would assume, I know it's bad to assume, that you share the concerns for the riders that we all do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. What kind of stupid statement is that? He doesn't even use the bus.
Major changes, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so that basically is fare increase in service costs, et cetera.
Upon approval by the transit committee.
Upon approval, right. Now, if that's not approved, my reading of this is that Veolia is required to indemnify and hold the county harmless. So if the major changes aren't approved, it's not a hit to the county budget. They're required to indemnify us. It's in the contract. It's in here in the Office of Legislative Budget Review. So, is that your understanding?
I think now I'm going to say that that's a legal opinion, but I don't want to comment on it.
Good afternoon, fellow citizens, politicians, and lawmakers. My name is Sonia Krupp. I'm 21 years old. I come from a lower middle class family of 2 working parents, currently employed by MTA Long Island Bus. My mother is a claims analyst and my father a mechanic at Paratransit. I'm a college student. I have a sister who is going to college soon and a brother born with a facial deformity requires constant medical attention. And that will stop as of January 31st because my parents will no longer reap the benefits of employment, inclusive of health insurance. My sister's dreams of a college education are limited. I will be a college graduate, filling out job applications alongside my own parents if something isn't worked out. Our lives to this day revolve around MTA. Aside from both my parents working for the agency, I am a daily passenger of the M6, which takes me to school and back every day. These buses no longer come on schedule. They are all overcrowded and uncomfortable more than ever. But can I blame the bus drivers for poor service? These employees have not even been guaranteed jobs by MTA or Veolia after their many years of service. To Mr. Mangano, I don't even know if he's showing face right now. But what bus do your children take to school? Atrocious. Typical parents worry about their kids' futures. My parents worry about theirs and ours. Years ago, when they got their jobs at LI Bus, we made the move from Queens to Nassau, so it was easier for their newly found opportunities. Today, it rips my family apart. This isn't just about possible fare hikes and service cuts from Veolia. It's about the passengers, many of them nurses, teachers, and students. It's about the people who will not have jobs at the start of the new year. This is unfair and no example of a democracy, as I'm sure no one on this so-called panel has even been dependent on a Long Island bus to get to school or work. Shame on the politicians doing what's best for their campaigns. Shame on Veolia.
My concern and the concern with folks in my congregation has been the unavailability of the contract right now to know all of the features and to properly evaluate them. Right. And so I would ask, when will this be available so that we will have full access to all of the aspects? And at any rate, we've tried to download it. It's nigh unto impossible. And we need to have this available. Do we have some answer to this?
Yeah,
we respond to the public whenever they come in today.
So you can go to the clerk's office and get a copy of the contract.
Can it be placed online so that it can be...
No, I think that's on the rules of the today, that they don't have that stuff.
I'm also told it's on the county executive's website.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. All right, my name is Tara Klein. I'm the Policy Director for Vision Long Island. We are a smart growth planning organization. So this has been a very difficult process over the last couple of months. I think we can all agree. But despite this difficult process, we want to be clear, we all want a common goal, which is to run our bus system efficiently, safely, and affordably, and in a way that protects riders, drivers, and taxpayers. However, within the Veolia contract, there is a very large number of outstanding questions and concerns. And without answers, we put very little faith in the ability of Veolia to meet our common goals. I think most importantly, it's already been discussed today, is the potential for service cuts and fare increases. Our understanding of the contract is that Veolia can cut up to 25% of service without any public process or approval of the legislature. And we find a problem with this. In addition, the Transit Advisory Committee, we're a little unclear about what actual power this committee will have and how that impacts service levels and fares. In addition, we want to know who will actually serve on this committee. Will they be riders? We're very unclear about that right now. In addition, why is there no state involvement in the oversight process, whereby the state contributes so much to the bus system and still will next year? You know what? Where is their voice in this? There are additional outstanding questions that have been raised on 13C obligations as well as the free Metro card transfer. And another really important point I would like to raise, where's the innovation in this contract? You know, I think it's important, I don't know if Veolia is still in the room, but it's important to note in our communities across Long Island, there are goals for downtown revitalization, transit-oriented development. I think everyone's really coming together around these goals right now, and keeping our young people here. Bus system is critical to all of these goals. Keeping our youth, transit-oriented development, downtown revitalization. I think these interconnected goals are very, very important to the county. And I think I would like Veolia to be aware of that. This private company should at least lay out a vision for expanding service in the future, or maybe adding bus rapid transit, or something innovative. I think is just a word to harken on. But the contract doesn't do that, and instead it really makes riders nervous about even continuing their current level of service. So to close, I would say the time frame for you to review this contract has been very short. We were a little put off by this, and we would ask that you consider the possibility of extending MTA service shortly while these questions are addressed.
My name is Roger Clayman. I'm the Executive Director of the Long Island Federation of Labor. Thank you for the opportunity to address the legislature on this Veolia contract. I'm going to focus on the issues related to the transit workforce, specifically the membership of Local 252 SHEDU, and the liabilities the county may incur as a result of the agreement with Veolia. The county initially entered into a 13C agreement in 1973.
We're not discussing 13C.
I am.
Well, no, you're not.
The public hearing. Nothing that I have to say has anything to do with the ongoing litigation. It relates to the agreements, the law as it relates to what you are required to do.
Right. He didn't ask you a
There's no other
question.
way without talking about your obligations, which you have to meet.
Mr. Ciampoli, are you in the room? Where are you?
You can't stop the public. The public is not under the same. He's not asking you a question. Not a First Amendment.
Might say couldn't possibly affect anything that we're saying.
Based on the fact that he claims he's supported by the work, there's one thing on the book.
He's a public. He can speak. Yes, it is. Wait, let the lawyer. Let him
You're here for a hearing on the subject. You're taking public comment. I would imagine he can say just about anything.
What kind of problem?
The problem is that this legislature really cannot and should not engage in commenting on his comments.
Whatever you want to say.
Big time.
Hey, McGannon, you need to listen.
It should actually be very easy to determine where my comments relate to the obligations and where they would be out of bounds. It shouldn't be a very difficult thing, but I will say to you that the 13C regulations and Section 13C of the federal law states basically that any federally funded project be carried out without an adverse effect on Long Island Bus employees, and that all collective bargaining agreements must be preserved. In the current situation,
you're not listening. You're ignoring the man. The man is talking to him and he's ignoring him. He's completely ignoring the man. Bullshit.
But it can contract with Veolia for it to assume responsibility for those obligations. It is not uncommon for the government, in this case Nassau County, and contractors to apportion liability by the contract that they sign. But legally, the government is responsible if, for example, Veolia fails to pay the claims. Under this particular contract, it should be emphasized that Veolia can cut service or increase fares if it should incur a 13C liability. The 13C agreements require that the rights, privileges, and benefits under the existing collective bargaining agreement remain in place until they are changed by a subsequent collective bargaining agreement. The union is bargaining with Veolia with no timetables established for those negotiations to be completed. If there is any unilateral imposition of conditions by Veolia, there would be a 13C liability for the county. Also, if there are lost work opportunities, employees must be compensated for that loss. Finally, it should be understood that the operation of the bus system by a private operator brings to an end the Taylor Law restrictions against job actions and
accomplish nothing, that approval of the contract is a foregone conclusion. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I do appreciate being able to speak to you about this issue, and I strongly suspect that the reason you're not voting to approve the contract today, but as Newsday reports, we'll take it up in 2 weeks, is because voting today would be denigrating the democratic process. So maybe there is something to be said about the time-honored democratic tradition of having public hearings.
And I'm just here, when y'all do the Metro card, could y'all keep them in? Because it's hard on your bus drivers. The people get on the bus, they don't understand. If one person get on there and don't put his card in right, then the bus driver got to hold up everybody that's on the bus before he can pull out for this person to pay. They having a hard job driving the bus. They're dealing with the public. It is very hard on them. And you should think about the bus drivers more often than we are. You don't think they want the money they pay?
My name is Peter Schmitt. I'm one member of public called the people of the United States of America. Mr. Chairman, respected legislature, ladies and gentlemen. In the past couple of months, on the news of Long Island bus, which seriously came into the media, I'm wondering if I have to bend over and kiss the Hitler boots as Mr. Mangani's office by creating the most secret society.
Excuse me, could you explain what that means?
We know what it is.
Let him talk. Let him talk, man.
Ignore him like how you was ignoring the others.
Let him speak.
Mr. Mangani's office by creating the most secret society, as I call it, promptly due to the lack of transparency and calling for public hearing on Long Island bus contract at an earlier
What? Let him speak. Let him speak. It's a public hearing. You're not supposed to comment. Shut your mouth and let him speak. Or stop the clock. Y'all get up there laughing and stuff. This ain't funny. When he's done.
have supported him.
One day your family gonna have to run.
Yo, let him speak. In the closed door room is shameful. I'm not defending neither MTA nor Veolia.
That's right.
Or any other service provider, as I and public are totally left out to know what's going on. The most precious body of our communities, which is public transportation, affecting the lives of all of the hard-working people who could not afford even go to the board to provide basic human necessities, the food, on their own tables in an early future based on Veolia's contract. I call all of you to approve the Veolia contract, including Mr. Mangano and his team as the members of the secret society criminal and demand to be prosecuted to the full extent by the law. You know, my grandmother, who did not finish the high school, would write a better contract than Mr. Mangano and his
for the next speaker.
Why? You interrupted him.
Mr. Mangano was unfair to come out with the public debate on the land and boss before even presenting that to the legislature body, which is based on the country charter.
Don't say any more of this garbage now.
Do you understand?
I hope he gets
Mr. Beaver should be ashamed to
I'm stuck on the Hitler boots. I don't know about you. Well, you know what?
Get over that. Let him speak.
We have a very, very significant issue here that brings out emotions in a lot of people on all sides of the issue. And this is not the first. This is not the first time this has gone. This is not the first time. Mr. Schmitt. Here who has very, very specific concerns.
Let's hear.
English is not his native language. He had an opportunity to articulate himself here. Let's.
Oh, yeah.
When people come up here, they are not necessarily going to be politically correct or articulate in a manner that you would hope they would be. That does not mean, however, that their opinions are somehow can be cut off, taken off transcript, or otherwise ignored. Let's give this gentleman an opportunity to speak his mind. You can comment any way you want. You can be offended as you will. I don't like the comments that I've heard so far, but the fact of the matter is,
He doesn't have the right to go around calling us criminals.
You're criminals!
I was listening to all this math about the bus service, and to me the simple thing is if you're adding profits, if you have a company, the company has to make profits, that is adding expense to the mix. Why can't you solve problems without adding more expense? You are making a profit on the backs of our working poor, our working people. They don't deserve that. My major concern is that we are one of the most segregated counties in America. And that just didn't come by accident. And my decisions like this, like making, like privatizing bus service, we ought to run an ad in the skinhead journals. They come to Nassau County. It's a wonderful place to live. You can live in our really light communities and you won't have to worry about any Christmas color wandering in because our legislature is determined to keep them out. For the buses there, and besides there aren't that many buses. But if you think about it, we are the most segregated. It means that the rest of the United States is moving ahead. They're integrated. They're moving into the 21st century. We are living in the past. We're going back from Nassau County to Jurassic County.
afternoon to all the legislators. Good afternoon to all the people that are here. Yay! All the bus workers, all the unions. Just to let you know, Legislator Abrams, I agree with you when you say that we're not trying to demonize Veolia. I don't want to throw Veolia under the bus. But the county does have the power right now to make a decision that is going to benefit everyone in this room and in this county. At the end of the day, it is your choice that is really going to make a difference. Please know this, though, that when you are making your decision, that the general public, at the end of the day, is what's putting money in your pocket. Please don't cut into my time, because they're going to shut me down. Okay, so please understand that this contract that you're looking over also includes the general public. Everyone here is in the business of making money, myself included. The county wants to make money, Veolia wants to make money, MTA wants to make money. Now, if you do not make the proper decisions, none of us are making any money. None. Because if we cannot get to work, we can't pay our bills. If the general public decides not to use your bus service anymore, you don't make any money. Veolia doesn't make any money, and MTA doesn't make any money. No one makes any money. So please, please, I implore you to please make the proper decisions that is going to benefit all. Thank you. Well said.
Cole from Medford.
First of all, I'd like to say let's cut through smoke and mirrors of Nassau County's plan that they have going on here today. These are some highlights out of the contract that Veolia wrote. On January 1st of each year, the county executive shall have the authority to adjust the powers of the transit committee as to reduce powers, which is saying that they're going to have all these powers. So right out of the gate, they're reducing the powers. Veolia covers its costs and affords Veolia the opportunity to earn a reasonable margin for overhead and profit. Veolia shall have the authority to adjust headways, time points at its discretion according to the customer demand. Number 4, up to 6 routes may be eliminated if such service is duplicated in that majority of passengers on such route have access to another route within 1 mile. Fixed fee of managing the operations, the transit system plus appreciated reasonable overhead and profit. A variable fee measured from the departure of the return of a revenue vehicle to the depot. The variable fee is intended to compensate Veolia for its variable cost of running the system for a reasonable overhead and profit. In the event no annual fee is agreed upon and approved within the 60-day period, Veolia shall have the right to terminate the services under the agreement in its accordance with Section 18.3. So in the event Veolia is not making what they want to make, they are going to terminate the bus service. Insurance. Veolia shall maintain liability and property insurance as specified. He is specifically naming the county as an additional insured, covering claims, damages for personal injuries, including the death as well as claims which arise from operating or the performance of the services. So this thing's got like full smoke and mirrors in it, so I don't know what to tell you. That's the contract that they wrote. That's what they got in there. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if any of you guys wrote it. And also at the end of the contract, as per se, Mr. Mangano did not sign it and the county did not notarize it.
Go to the attorney. He's not authorized to sign it yet.
Why is he the county executive?
Who stood up there and voted that he signed a contract. And he didn't.
Somebody's calling the lie now. We have a liar. We have a liar.
What do I want? I want answers to what they're going to do here.
Exactly. Give us the answer. We ride the bus, you know.
Right now, the people are going to pay for transport from a Nassau bus to a city bus. From a Nassau bus to the subway.
You obviously weren't here, weren't listening at the presentation in the
I
beginning.
was listening to the presentation because I got no answer out of it.
They are very close to wrapping up the deal.
It's got to be voted on. It's democracy.
Ain't no way, man. Ain't no way.
I have 6,000 signatures in that bag over there. But people have to sign on all buses that are worried about the service that's going to be cut and what the fares that are going to be raised on it. What do you got to say about that?
Right, they ain't got nothing to say because they don't ride the bus.
Why don't you submit them to the clerk so we can have them?
Because I'm not going to give them to them until I have copies. I'm street smart.
Come to meetings like this and say
Jack Martin, because he wants the service to stay the same. You can talk over me or I can talk over you. Who wants to talk? Who wants to talk first? Go ahead.
Talk. You got a disrespectful mouth, talk.
Indeed. Put your hands up. Why don't they
Look the man in his face. Disrespectful man.
Give these people answers.
Exactly, because we ride a friggin' bus. Well, you know, you ride a Rolls Royce.
Good afternoon, members of the legislature and people. I'm here to say I've heard everything that Veolia has to say. I'm a rider of the bus, and I'd like to know how can we be guaranteed that Veolia is not going to increase fares and decrease service if they're a business that's in business to make money, and if we cannot afford to pay, how can we and how will we be able to pay Veolia?
We need an answer. Answer the question. I know. You're for the deal. Answer the question.
What are they going to be looking at? Whether they're going to increase the fares and decrease service? But we have no guarantee they won't do that within the first quarter of 2012. And my other concern is, what will we do about the domino effect that this will have on all of our riders? Whether you live in Nassau County, work in Nassau County, pay taxes in Nassau County, this will have a crippling effect on each and every one of us because each of us provides services that all of us use. And my last comment is, how will this affect our environment? If more people take cars, then what happens to our environment? Thank you.
Members of the legislature, I depend on 2 buses to visit my girlfriend, my mother who's in a healthcare facility who is sick, to go to a part-time seasonal job, and also go to the government for programs to improve my abilities and skills. I must take one bus and transfer to another bus. What happens with companies that are concerned only with profits if they decide just one of these routes is not profitable?
Right.
I'm left with walking, skateboard, or a mule.
Oh my God.
I'm going to stay this way because I want to speak to these people.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe.
I'd like to be quiet.
Give her the microphone, please.
I don't need a mic.
She don't need her.
Shut up and let her talk.
For 34 years, I have been riding bus number 36, which doesn't carry too many passengers. It could have, if they had advertised that the bus can take you. If the people in Long Island knew that there were bus stops in their neighborhood, and if the schools gave a decent
discount to the students going to high school. I came from Brooklyn. I always paid half fare on 2 buses to get to high school. I was legally blind. I knew that I wasn't going to drive a car at 19 years old. My father said, don't drive. You can get other people into trouble, as well as yourself. I have been dependent and independent by buses.
Nice.
My bus drivers who are here, I thank that they have always been courteous and well-trained. I want to make sure that our new bus drivers, if you sign this contract, are qualified, that they know that the routes where they're going to be, that if they need a smaller bus, they can use a smaller bus, that they don't have to. I have a bus that runs every hour, never on Sunday. I have been able to have a very independent life all these years. I located myself near a train and a bus. I knew that I could use the transfer, and I want these people who have to go to work, who have to go to doctors, who have to go to their own amusement areas and shop. My goodness, we have to shop. Bus drivers carry a lot of passengers. They shop and they buy, and we are taxpayers and we spend money. And if we're going to have some kind of contract being signed by the legislators who represent me, I want to make sure that you include the needs of all the people that are coming up with macular degeneration, who will not be able to drive their freaking cars and pollute the air, and use the buses properly. And if our buses run, it can be December, because this area of Long Island needs to concentrate on public transportation. We have denied people from knowing that you can step one step up and get in a bus. You don't have to climb all kinds of fancy stairs and things like that, or call a cab. And I'm saying we can improve the bus ridership. Maybe it will be profitable, but certainly quarterly inquiries about whether we can raise or lower.
Let her speak. She's disabled.
We have to keep a partnership. I'm finishing. A partnership between the legislators who we voted for to represent our needs, and our need is for public bus transportation in a local area that can grow. Thank you. People who ride the bus, I invite all of you to ride a bus and see how wonderful it can be. You don't have to. No. Come and ride the bus, use the bus, and also get bus riders to be on your panels.
But Joe, I'm sorry, I'm over here, but I want to tell you that what you just said to us was very important for Veolia to hear. Because I don't think, and I'm living in Nassau County since the late 60s, that anybody really knows that there is such a thing as bus service.
That's right.
And that if there was bus service that they could depend on, there would be more riders. I have to agree with you. And you said it quickly, but I credit you with saying it, because part of their charge, if they do get this contract, is that they must make it known what they're offering for the public, because otherwise people are not using it because they don't believe it's reliable.
Right, and bus stops. People don't even know in their own neighborhoods that there's a bus stop. There are organizations for the blind that had to get the mark.
I agree with you.
That we're very uneducated. Even though we're educated, we're dumb, and we have places to go, and everybody can help.
Okay, so you John.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ann J. Wells, and I am a member of the Economic Opportunity Commission of Nassau County. As a matter of fact, I'm the chairman of that commission under the guidance of Mr. Ira C. Johnson, who is the CEO. My concern is that we need a reliable and expensive, dependable bus service. The people that ride the bus are low and middle class people who do not have cars, and most of them cannot afford a car in Nassau County. Without them, you would not have a bus service. And these people depend on a reliable and expensive service to get to their jobs, their doctors, and other necessary duties that they have to perform. Privatization really privatization was not some business. They're not interested in the individual. They are interested in making profit for themselves.
Fire hands off the mic.
No, the other way.
Peter Schmitt, I have a question for you. Since you say one person rides the bus where you live at, you caught in the lie right now. Because I ride the M6 every single day. Those buses are packed. Those buses skip the first stop on 169th Street because it's so packed. It's not holding that up. So when you come up with this, oh, one person rides the bus.
You're too close to the microphone.
Yes, you can. Don't be smart with me. And Megan, I have a question for you, since you think everything is so funny. What happens when I don't have a bus to get to school? You're certainly not going to come pick me up in no limousine, are you? Because I would love to see that. No, you You claim you ain't got no money to subsidize buses, but you can pay for a coliseum and a pool? That's still sleep at night, knowing people are going to be affected because of you and Peter Schmitt, because you two are the ones that afford this deal, so I'm speaking to both of you guys right now. How you going to sleep at night knowing that people are going to have to stand outside in the cold? Elderly people, disabled people have to wait on buses because of you. All you had to do was pay MTA money and we wouldn't be sitting here today. That's right. You keep bashing the MTA. Oh, the MTA was this, MTA was that. What are you doing? You're not doing that yourself, but sitting up here blaming them for stuff. We have professional bus drivers back there that drive these buses every single day. Because they are getting beat up because of that. That's unfair. That is so unfair. That is unfair. How about you come a day and ride the bus and see how it feels? You don't have to ride it because you have 2 bedrooms and 2 mansions, so you don't have to worry about it. Huh? Nobody can answer no questions now, can they? Because they're talking about it. They think everything's funny. So you read what you saw, that's all I can say. What comes around goes around. You make everything. That's right. You see what is coming to you. You don't treat somebody unfair. We should be treated equal. We are all Americans. We should be treated equal. It doesn't matter if I'm black, we have white people. It doesn't matter. We should all be treated fairly. That's the point of this country. We're not going back to the slave days anymore. We're not going back there. So you guys need to come up with a plan with the MTA again, because you broke a 38-year relationship, and then you're going to let Veolia hire unprofessional drivers to drive buses down these streets, and when they miss up and hit a car or something, or they run into the building and the bus blows up, who's going to none of you are going to be responsible for all you guys are going to do is sit there and do nothing. I have one more thing to say. And Megan, you stated that bus drivers should make $27 an hour. I disagree with you. They drive a bus 8 hours a day. They send that to 8 hours a day. They deserve every penny that they make. That's right. But I don't think you deserve anything you make. You sit up here. I cannot believe that a lie office. I'm going to read it until I finish speaking. And you don't listen to me. I don't care. So when comes around those mouths, like I said, you guys will reap what you sow. Make everybody affected, it will come back to you. That's all I have to say.
Okay, we waited a while to talk. Now you're going to listen to what we have to say. And I'm going to use every bit of my 3 minutes here. I come before you today because Nassau County is coming to a fork in the road. One road will preserve Nassau's economy and quality of life. The other heads down into a disaster area. That road is called Veolia. Ed Mangano claims this contract is a heroic act to save bus service in Nassau County. But it is Mangano that is the villain here.
Exactly.
The county's You know, the other counties, the MTA's demands for a higher subsidy were very reasonable and in line with what other counties pay for their bus service. But Nassau County thinks the 100,000 daily riders of Long Island Bus and the hardworking employees are worthless. Such a small $2 million county subsidy should be considered illegal. How can one of the richest counties in the United States, where Range Rovers dominate the roads, not be able to afford bus service? You and I know that's bullshit. This county is no better than this contract is no better than the MTA, and in many ways, much worse. Veolia can reduce service by 20% and eliminate 6 routes without even a hearing or a vote. This transit committee Mangano touts so highly about, he appoints 3 of the 5 members. How can that even be considered democratic? It's pretty clear Mangano, along with Peter Schmitt, are completely unaware of how this bus system works. Peter, I've even read you say you've seen buses running around empty. And look at me when I'm talking to you. You said it, I saw it in the paper. My buses are jammed up. They are overcrowded. You know, it's funny, and there's no guarantees that MetroCard will even be accepted either. With less buses and higher fares, many riders will be forced to leave Nassau County. And maybe they'll even show up at the welfare office, which will cost even more money for the county. It's funny, for somebody who says you want to see people get back to work, you're taking away their means to get to work. Then more will wind up at the welfare office, of course. And the contract will cost Nassau more than with staying with the MTA. Not only will they have to pay higher taxes as businesses leave the county, this company can ask for more money and pull out without any notice, leaving taxpayers on the hook for any additional costs. This contract makes no sense, morally or financially. Each one of you will be deciding on Nassau County's future, and I don't see how anyone in their right conscience, if they call themselves a human being,
If they're going to make people suffer.
approve this nice screw job on Nassau County. Because that's what NICE stands for. Nice screw job. You'll be throwing my future as well as those of the 100,000 daily riders, employees, and Nassau's economy at the mercy of the wolves. Think very carefully about what you're doing. It's not too late to get back to the table with the MTA. Don't be the Grinch that stole bus service away from Nassau. Yeah.
Good job. Way to go. Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Good afternoon. My problem is with these gentlemen over here from Viola. They're businessmen. They're here to make a profit.
Exactly.
Okay? And actually, from the numbers I heard, they're very successful businessmen. But my problem is up here. Everybody, including the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean, you guys held us up for 2 hours today to have a meeting. You could have did that yesterday. Or you could have did it on any... I work Saturday and Sunday. You guys could have did that. You're rushing it down our throat. There's a lot of people that are going to lose a big part of their pension. I don't know if any of you guys work 30 years anyway. But these guys at the bus company work 30 years and are going to lose part of their pension. Listen, make a smart decision. Don't make a rush decision. Just, take your time. And whatever it has to be, take your time. That's all I'm asking.
Came up in regards to people losing their pensions. So I think it's a great segue.
They don't care if they don't, because they already make a living. Right. By sitting in the office and doing nothing.
Someone from Veolia should come up and answer that.
Right. They don't care.
Don't cut their pay. Keep their pay.
I'm only doing it because someone asked a question, and rather than go and answer, because we're going to be here for another couple more hours, let's answer it while people are here.
Good.
No one wants to hear you, Schmitt. Somebody has a direct question, and I know Pat may have questions on behalf of the TWU.
Like a little dictatorship going on up there.
It's beneficial to the public to have the person answer the question. In the middle of the hearing.
Stop dodging shit!
Meaning you make an attempt to hijack it.
How about we do it? They need to hijack you. Yeah.
When we can get the answer to this question.
not going to go back and forth with Mr. Schmitt because that's obviously the point.
Schmitt is a disrespectful man. Don't make me up there.
We will be getting responses from Veolia or the county or whoever at 9 o'clock tonight, and all of you will be going home. Hopefully you stay, but they're hoping that you go home.
I have slips here with everybody's name and address.
Well, let's get the Viola first. I wonder how this is going to get paid for the
Let's look at these.
Yes, most of you know me, I'm Pat Bowden. I'm president of Transport Workers Union, Local 252. I represent the maintenance department and the drivers of Long Island Bus. Veolia, they're a company here to make money, but I do have some concerns. We didn't sign this contract until 2 days after the election. Oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah, they got the election, so that's why they
until it was signed, which I already told everybody that was going to happen anyhow, because we knew it.
Yeah.
Because McGann wouldn't do it before. You have a committee on the contract with them. Where is the labor on this committee? The MTA even has the labor in there. Where are the people that drive the buses? They're not on the committee.
Nope.
The bus riders.
McGann gets to pick 3 people.
Exactly.
And you can veto whatever they do or whatever they say. You're going to sign this? Let me tell you something. If my lawyers brought me a contract like this, they'd be out. I would fire them.
That's right.
I don't know what's going to happen. We've only had 2 meetings so far, and we haven't had any for paratransit. None. You didn't give us enough time to have a contract, and I don't like what's being brought forward to the contract. And if you think I'm going to do what Ed McGann did, sign on the dotted line, it's not happening. It will not happen to my members. No way. My members work too hard.
That's right.
And you're not going for the public. The public need the buses. And I think you should consider, before you even do this, what the contract's going to be.
And the consequences.
With the drivers and the mechanics. You know what? I'll tell you one of the parts. They want my members to have an hour off, be responsible for the bus, and not get paid. I will never sign anything like that. This is a work-to-life state. And our members deserve better than that. And they have routes that the people will be working in the morning, split runs the next day, night the next day. If there's an emergency, they're going to be violating the 19A 8-hour ruling. If there's an emergency burn on, how would you like to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, the next day you have to go at night? Nobody wants that. Where's the quality of life with their families? There is none. So I think before you sign this, you should make sure that TWU has a contract. And I am not bringing up the 13C, but then there will be no 13C.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cynthia Tropiano. I'm a bus driver and a taxpayer and furious with what's going on. The MTA has gotten a bad name. They have done nothing wrong.
Exactly.
When Mesba was in here, I have been here 18 years. We've had buses that were garbage. I drove a bus one day and the alternator fell out. The MTA came in 3 years ago and our buses have improved.
Yep.
Now you're blaming the MTA for the lack of buses. Right. But you people had these buses on the road for 12 years when those tanks were only registered for 10. So don't tell me that it's the MTA's fault. They immediately took those buses off. You're subsidizing all these people and taking these hard-working people and throwing them in the trash because you think you're going to make a better profit with these people? MTA is non-profit. And it's appalling. I have a woman that I pick up on the 73 line, which is going to be one of the ones that are canceled. She's 90 years old, uses a walker to get to the bus stop, climbs up the stairs with this walker, and then goes to Hempstead Turnpike. She goes from Wanto Avenue to Hempstead Turnpike. Do you want her to walk from Wanto Avenue and Merrick Road
all the way up to Hempstead to take a bus because the 73 doesn't make enough money?
Exactly.
You people that really think that you never have to take a bus. But remember, all of you are one step away from taking a bus. All you need is a DWI and lose your job.
My name is Mike Hanker. I just recently retired from Long Island Bus after 37 years.
Look what you did.
6 months after the takeover, and the system has grown greatly in these 37 years. I think the MTA has been doing a fantastic job to make a profit with this business, and they're using it as a business opportunity, and I don't blame them for that. They're probably going to, Mangano's probably going to come to you next year and let you know that he's going to want to privatize the sewer district. Sewer district, and they'll be looking to take that bit over too. So they're looking to take over public.
What about the water company? What about the police department? They're taking that too.
They're going to be coming in front of you for the next couple of years saying we're going to need more money and more money and more money. Now this deal, from what I gathered, has been made up a long time ago, and a deal I feel stinks between here and Albany. So I don't think this Como knows that people on Long Island realize that he's behind this, and that's going to affect his political career down the road if this place goes private. Thank you very much.
Everybody gone because of y'all. Y'all took 2 hours to come in this meeting.
Adam Garfield of Garden City.
Before I start, I'd like to submit my testimony in writing for the entire legislature. Good evening. Hello. My name is Adam Garfield, and I'm with NYPER. It's the New York Public Interest Research Group at Nassau Community College. And for 30 years, we've been on this campus of Nassau Community College as a student-based advocacy group. Our group is the largest student-directed organization that represents and protects the rights of students by educating and activating them as citizens here in Nassau County and the state of New York. Long Island Bus is a cornerstone of transportation for about half the students that attend Nassau Community College. The bus is so incredibly important to our campus that we just don't have one stop on campus. We have 4 bus stops on campus. Plus Able Ride, that leads to 5 bus stops on campus. Just within our campus alone. So, in short, the campus would be in an incredible amount of trouble without easily accessible and affordable public transportation. When the news was released that Long Island Bus is looking to privatize with Veolia and pull away from the MTA, most students, whether they took the bus or not, were concerned. But once we got hold of the actual plans of the night system, what it looked like, we began to be even more concerned. After some reading into this new system, these points made public citizens and students nervous about public transportation within the future. First off, in the first 6 months, according to the Veolia plan, we'll be cutting service within the company, or at least have the ability to. We think this is a bad deal for riders starting off a new regime with cutting the service that riders need right off the bat. The term major event is used a lot in the contract and would allow for fares to be increased and also service to be reduced. There's no clear definition whatsoever of what a major event is, but also it seems as though this contract gives too much power to Veolia. This contract is giving Veolia easy ways to back out of the deal. If Veolia opts out of the contract, who will run the bus system then? There are no representative of the public or labor, for that matter, of the Transit Advisory Committee, the TAC. The county executive has more representation on this committee than anyone else, with 3 out of 5 of the appointed members. The county executive also has deciding power to limit the effectiveness of this committee itself, as a layer of oversight. So in short, we believe that this nice system is not a nice deal for riders. The legislators in this room have an opportunity to offer and amend this contract before it's passed. Thousands of Nassau Community College students will be greatly affected by this contract, and we are seeking the legislators to step up to the plate for the students, for the future of this county, and provide them with a service that they can afford and rely on that is transparently open for public comment and review. Thank you.
For the past 6 years, and I'm also a Long Island bus rider. Being able to rely on Long Island bus from Mineola to the campus has enabled me to work at this college for the past 6 years and to do so without having to own a car or to contribute to pollution on the roads in that as a private car owner. I'm here today, though, to talk really about the impact of privatization on our students. Our campus, as Adam just explained, is served by a number of buses. 5 different bus routes serve the campus: the N51, the N45, the N43, the N16, and the N35, as well as Able Ride. Buses service the college throughout the day, starting as early as 6:30 in the morning and running, depending on which line it is, through 11 o'clock at night. Long Island Glass Bus plays an integral role in our students' busy lives. They connect students to major transit hubs in Hempstead, Roosevelt Field, Mineola, and Jamaica. Reliable, affordable, and publicly accountable transportation make it possible for our students, many of whom are working parents, to combine work with higher education. For these students who are unable to pay higher fares, pay expensive taxi rides, the loss of the bus will mean further hardship. It will mean they are unable to continue with their education or their ability to rise above low-wage work. I'm especially nervous about the manner in which privatization is proceeding. The Tri-State Transportation Campaign, if you're researching this in Newsday, has urged the legislature to slow down the process of privatization, to review it. I think the comments here today expressed by everyone demonstrate the need for careful, cautious, pragmatic review. And if you look at the transit agency being proposed, it's a disgrace that there's no role for the public, the bus riding public, and that no role for the unions. I think every effort has been made to delay this plan, the contract, and we need to have better oversight. I urge you to delay. I urge you ultimately to reject this contract.
Thank you for your time today. I have to start by saying that if I had left some of my clients that I work with waiting an hour after the start of their appointment date, I probably would lose my job.
Thank you.
We got one apology, but I don't know if that was really sufficient. Anyway, my comments centered around a concern about privatization of public services. I think that it's wrong. I don't think that MTA is a business per se. As finances, you obviously have to consider business-like terms to make sure that the thing keeps running, but should not be looked at as a business. It's a service. It's a service that should be provided by the government, by the taxpayers, not by a private company. I think the benefits of privatization generally are that if you put it in the hands of a private company, market forces will lower prices through competition, but because public services like busing operate in a monopoly, competition is non-existent, it won't drive down prices. All it will achieve is less transparency, less accountability, and in the end, higher prices and for a lower product. That's how monopolies work, and that's why there's laws against them.
Thank you, sir.
I would also like to say that the notion that the public bus system is not profitable, I think, is only true if you're looking at dollars and cents. The profit from the bus system doesn't come from the fares that people pay when they get on the bus. The profit is from the infrastructure improvements granted by the bus system. The less cars on the road, cleaner air. We have thousands of people that work in our businesses and educate themselves in Nassau County universities that wouldn't have those opportunities if it wasn't for a robust, publicly ran transportation system. The profit isn't, again, not the dollars and cents that go into the bus. The profit is all of the other benefits that were afforded because of the system. And if we put it in the hands of a private company that can cut routes because they're not profitable,
the whole thing will collapse, and it's not a pretty picture. I think that, again, basically, my point is public transportation is rarely profitable in dollars and cents, but it's always profitable in terms of the public good. A company cares about the former, and a government cares about the latter. And I think that's what we need to focus on.
My name is Charlie Oberauer. I'm the Executive Director of Long Island Jobs with Justice. And, I don't want to compare this contract with Veolia with the MTA. I just want to talk about the quality of service, the quality of fares, and the current contract with Veolia. The first point I want to touch on is the history of Veolia as a corporation. I noticed in the presentation that Mr. Ash gave that Columbia, South Carolina wasn't mentioned. In Columbia, South Carolina, fares have risen over 100%. Right. And Veolia is currently proposing a 63% cut to service. They're proposing eliminating weekend service, holiday service, and midday service. And buses will run from 5 a.m. to noon and 2 to 7:30 p.m. That's all detailed in a report that we sent to all of the legislators. So that's the example of Columbia, South Carolina that wasn't on Mr. Ash's slide.
Exactly.
The second point, I'd like to quote the report that Mr. Maragos put out this morning. Quote, the composition of the Transit Committee should properly reflect the interests of all affected parties. I think that he's suggesting there that we need some kind of rider or labor representative on that committee. And we also need to be ensured that that's going to happen through the contract. So I urge you to please ask Veolia to change that piece of the contract to really get that kind of representation as Mr. Maragos recommends. And third, I'm going to again quote Mr. Maragos' report because I think it was a good one. It suggests that in the first 6 months, we're going to see a reduction of 12.5% of the routes, and in the second 6 months, a reduction of 23% of the routes. I know that Mr. Maragos distributed the report, so all of us have it. Now, again, we don't have to compare this to the MTA. Let's just look at the quality of service that's being put out there, okay? My fourth point is that we recently released a report that details some of the questions we have about the contract, and let's be clear. The contract with Veolia states that routes at less than 25% can be cut without even going to the Transit Advisory Committee.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, again, it doesn't even have to go to the Transit Advisory Committee. And as we've heard, the Transit Advisory Committee as it now stands is made up by Mr. Mangano as the majority. He gets to appoint 3 people. And it doesn't even have to go to that committee. So again, this needs to be revised in the contract.